Talking about men's shoes with me in the studio on SME Hub today is iBrandTV CEO St. David's. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
So let's talk about men's shoes. When you were going into this business, what did you have in mind? Why did you go into it?
I think the whole thing started with just a passion that I had for shoes anyway. Yeah, when I was going into the business, I never had in mind whether I'm going to make men's shoes or female shoes. I just wanted to make footwears, good footwears. But getting into the industries, and I find out that the women's shoes are more complicated, but the men's shoes are yeah.
How do you mean?
They are more complicated because on women colors, different kind of colors or things like. But for the men, styles, preferences, heels. But for the men, either flats or just average.
You know, fashion entrepreneurs say the same thing about women's clothes and men's clothes. They say women's clothes are more complicated. Now I'm hearing the same thing for shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing this 23 years now. That's a very long time. Tell us the story. How has it been? What are the challenges you faced?
At first, when we started in 1999, we're a few shoemakers in Lagos. Then it was very difficult for you to actually like push made in Nigerian shoes. Then you have like this made in Italy, drives a whole lot of people crazy. If it's not Italy, it's not original. Then you have the Abba, made in other things, and like the inferior ones that people are comparing or things like that. So when we're coming into the industry, I have this in mind that we actually want to change the narrative, make people believe in made in Nigeria. So I started making most of the shoes. Those shoes then was not as good as what you see now, but just consistency in trying to get the shoes to compete with our international standard. So all we did was we had to do a whole lot of research, check the way they're doing it, a whole lot of trainings, self-development, until we got to a point, we said, okay, fine, we can actually showcase what we have. So I started putting my name, that's the name of my brand on the shoes, and people like, come, these shoes are good. Why didn't you just put made in Italy? I said, no. For how long are we going to, keep promoting made in Italy, foreign goods? So why not just St. David? So I think it was very difficult then, trying to convince people to buy that. So I did a whole lot of exhibitions here and there to convince a lot of people, give a whole lot of shoes for free, just for people to understand. Just wear it and see it, and it actually paid off at the end of the day. But it took a whole lot of time for us, like register that into the minds of people that come. We have actually come of age that we must wear our things, and today, I'm happy that many of us actually paved the way for most designers who are coming into it today. But then it was very difficult, but now I think it's easier.
So I know a lot has changed, as you said, when it comes to the penchant for foreign goods as against buying our own locally made items.
Yeah.
How would you rate that acceptance? Because I know the flair is still there. A lot of people will still choose foreign goods compared to, as against taking, the locally made ones. How would you rate that difference or that growth?
I think that was then, but now it's not like that, because what people look this time around, people are not even like more crazy about like designers. People are not looking at quality. You understand? Just quality, because you can have good designers and the qualities are not just there. So people, if you have good quality things, why not? And there's a whole lot of people doing the same thing. For example, if you remember then, talk about the music industry or things like that. If it's not Michael Jackson or Boyz II Men or things, but today, people are jamming Wizkid, Davido and things like that. So it's even the same thing when it comes to the fashion industry.
So let's talk about capital. How did you start?
Wow. Well, I actually started with what I had, but before then, I did a training on how to make shoes for like 3.5 years. So when I graduated,
was that in a formal school?
Yes,
or online?
A technical school. So the technical school, formal school here in Nigeria. Yes, here in Nigeria, exactly. Yeah. So 3.5 years, I came out and I needed to raise funds. It was very difficult raising funds. So I had to work in a shoe company somewhere in Apapa. So I worked there, I think, for like a month and half. Because
that was a locally made in
yes, a shoe factory. Somewhere in Apapa, run by one lady. She's married to a white guy. Yeah. So my major problem was because I was a very creative person, so I was asked to just do one thing every day when I come there. So I wasn't satisfied. So I was looking for a platform where I can actually, you know, showcase and do the creative things that I'm not to do, to explore. But there was just every day I do the same things. So I wasn't, you know, I wasn't satisfied. I wasn't fulfilled. So after 1 month, I told the woman I was leaving, and she was looking at me. Are you? I said yes. So I had to leave. Then I squatted with a shoemaker somewhere in Owoshoki. He only repairs, so I had a deal with him that I want to be making shoes. So I'll teach him on how to make shoes. So that's why he allowed me. So I was there for 1 year plus. Then I raised a little capital, got saved 1,500 naira. That was then.
As far back as 1998.
1998, exactly. Yeah. So I was looking for 2,000 naira. So I searched everywhere, I couldn't find it. So that night I actually lost hope. I won't be able to get that first machine for 3,500 because I was having 1,500 with me. So that night I got a letter from the village. I saw from my mom. I just threw the letter somewhere. I said, maybe they're asking me for money when I'm looking for money. Or something in my just go, why didn't you just check the letter? And I opened the letter and behold, it was the exact amount I needed.
Wow.
2,000 naira. There was no phone then. There was no cell phone to call. How she actually knew I was looking for 2,000 naira. This is actually
a miracle.
It was a miracle, exactly. So the next morning I bought my first machine. So I literally said I started with 3,500. Yeah, I started business with 3,500.
So as at then, what were the bottlenecks when it comes to the shoe industry in Nigeria, and what are the bottlenecks right now? Are we still facing the same challenges that you faced back then now?
Yes. I think then it was more like communicating what you're making to people, you know, their acceptance of made in Nigerian shoes, which I think has literally changed. I think that's the major then, because
I also know that then you couldn't get bank loans, but right now you can.
Yes, because I wasn't even thinking about bank loan then anyway, because I was just starting the business.
For
example, what do I need the money for when I'm still trying to register this in the hearts of people that this is what I do? We have challenge in trying to make people buy made in Nigerian shoes. I'm looking for loan for what? So it wasn't an option at that particular time. Mine was just I was so passionate in what I was doing, trying to make sure that people at least start buying made in Nigerian.
So where do you get your raw materials from?
We buy them in Mushin. We have importers who brings from Italy, Spain, and Brazil.
So we still bring in this leather.
Yes.
And you know the federal government has been talking about banning pomo to boost the leather industry. How effective do you think that would be?
For me, it won't make any difference. Because one, originally, animals are actually reared for a specific purpose. And I think that's what we should be doing. Let's rear animals for this purpose, not just you banning pomo or things like how many pomos, even the animals that we have here, they're not well fed. To even talk of things like that. So how effective is it going to be? I don't think it would make any difference.
So you are saying that the leathers are available, but we don't have them in refined quantities or in refined form.
Exactly. You'll come to even think about that. You will find out that after oil, crude oil, leather is the second exporting products in Nigeria, and they're making a whole lot of money. Just like our crude oil is not well refined. We have oil here, but we don't refine them here. So the same thing with the leather. So they process this particular leather to a particular stage, and they export that to Europe, and it's refined at that particular place. In fact, what we use are just the remnants of what what they use remaining. That's what we use, and we call them stock. So they ship back those stocks to us, and this is where we get those pieces of leathers and to create all these things, all these masterpieces.
So what's the challenge? Is it that we don't have the machines, we don't have the manpower? What exactly is the challenge? Why can't we refine?
A whole lot, because you're talking about a standard refinery. It's huge. It's a huge. How would I put that? You're talking about a whole
investment.
A huge investment, and individuals can't just handle that. It has to be a government project, and it must be deliberate. That this is what we want to do, not just pay lip services to it. It's a real business.
So it's the same challenge you're having with the oil and gas sector.
Exactly.
We don't have functioning refineries.
Functioning refineries. I think that's the word.
Okay, talk to us about the process of manufacturing your shoes. Okay. And I also like to know how you tell which leather is original and which is fake.
I think for me, to tell which leather is original, which one is fake, I actually learned in the process. Made a whole lot of mistakes.
Wow.
get some leather because they were looking very nice. By the time you get to the workshop, you find out it's something else entirely. But that's in our own cost anyway, because they won't change it for you. So I actually learned in the process, at least for 23 years now. Even just only seeing the leather, I know which one is original, and that is not applicable to everybody. If you are not in the industry,